I would like to welcome onto stage our first speaker, the CEO of Dubai Holding Entertainment, Ferando Eiroa. Welcome, Fernando. So can you just give us first kind of a walkthrough, because there's a lot of assets within Dubai Holding Entertainment, a lot of parks. So just quickly an overview for everyone who's here.
Okay, so Dubai Holding Entertainment might be or is maybe the one of the largest or the largest entertainment group in the region. We have four theme parks, three theme parks, two water parks. We have an amazing area where we offer food and beverage shows and entertainment. It's called Riverland. Then we have two hotels, La Pita Hotel, that is themed after Hawaii and Polynesia. And then we recently opened a few months ago, Legoland Hotel, which is the first theme hotel oriented or focused on families after obviously Lego IP. Then we have I'm relatively new to the company. I have spent 20 years of my life running and working in theme parks, but I haven't seen anything like Global Village. Global Village is one of the most successful businesses I have ever seen in my life. I mean, not only as a business, but as an experience.
Can you just walk us through, so for those who aren't familiar, Global Village, what exactly is it?
Well, Global Village is something, again, that it was the first time in my life that I saw something like this. So it's a mix of entertainment with attractions, with the best street food in the world. I mean, you can find food from street food, from authentic food from all over the world. And at the same time, you can enjoy shopping all kind of items and products, again, from all over the world. So the combination is an amazing experience. It's outdoor, you have live entertainment, you have music, you have food, you can buy things, you can enjoy it, right? So it's the great combination.
So this is an extraordinary year. I mean, after two relatively unextraordinary years, can you just walk us through what are you seeing? Like, who's coming back? Where are they coming back from? What are they, are you seeing certain products in your portfolio coming back faster than others?
What I can tell you so far, what we have seen in these months is, for instance, we just closed the 26th season for Global Village, and has been the best year ever in the history of the park, of the attraction. I think that we closed close to 8 million people in 6 months, right? 7.8 million attendance to Global Village this year, which is a huge number. Then we have seen also a very, very good trend on the theme parks. The theme parks are working well. We opened two major attractions recently, a few months ago, after John Wick and Now You See Me with Lionsgate in the US, and they are working very, very well. I mean, I don't know if you have had the chance to go and visit the park, but they are amazing attractions, second to none in the world. I mean, again, I was telling you that I have experience for more than 20 years, and what we offer here in Dubai is top notch. I mean, it's very good attraction. And then Green Planet is a part of our portfolio and has been very, very successful so far too.
So can you give us some insight into what regions or what markets are coming back?
Well, domestic market is reacting very well. So you can tell that there is a pent-up demand of people willing to do things. So we have a lot of people coming from people who live here in the Emirates. Yeah. But then Western European countries, they are the main source of attendance to our attractions, with about 20-something%, 21, 22%. And then obviously, the Saudi Arabia is a very important market for us, and the US has increased a lot in the last few months as
well. How's Asia doing? Are you seeing Asia return?
Asia, so far, what we see is that China, they are still, closed and suffering, the COVID more than other regions in the world, and So it's not as we expected, but we are sure that China and Asia in general will come back. I mean, will be a very important source of market.
But so how do you? So look, what's happening in China right now? Where they're now experiencing lockdowns that I think for Europe and the U.S. we've kind of moved past, but there seems to be an enormous amount of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And China is such an important market for global travel and tourism. How do you plan? Like, how do you think about like planning for the future and building forecasts and hitting targets when you don't know if China, is it going to come back in 3 months, in 6 months, or is it going to be 2024? Like how do you think through that as a CEO with so many properties?
One of the things I have learned in my life, in my experience, is that you have to think outside the box. I recall that I was for many years in the U.S. in California. We have a marine park in Hawaii where 50% of the visitors came from Japan. So Japan had the swine flu and the bird flu, whatever, a few years ago, and they closed the country. So we learned very, very fast how to get customers and offer different experiences at the park to make up for that 50% losses, right? And the year after that, the park, it was the record year for the park. So it's very similar. I think that Dubai has a unique attractive for customers all over the world. I mean, Dubai has shown the world that the way they have treated the pandemic, COVID, has been an example for all countries in the world, right? So when a lot of people, when they think about traveling, one of the main destinations is Dubai because Dubai offers a safe environment, right? So China, I agree with you. I mean, it's a massive, very, very important country in the world, and we need to attack that market and bring people from that market. But in my point of view is that there are so many other markets in the world that open now, and they are willing to come to Dubai and enjoy the attractions that we have here, that this is what we are doing now. We are not focusing on what we cannot get because the country is closed. We are focusing on what we know is open and we can get people from. So India, Europe, US, those are massive countries and massive regions in the world that will.
So, and historically, Russia has been an important market for Dubai. What kind of impact has that had with the war in Ukraine and the sanctions against Russia?
So far, we have seen a very small decline on visitors from Russia. So it's not meaningful. Obviously, this is not good for any business. It's not good for the world in general. But again, I think that we are very, very active. When we see a problem with a market, we open very, very fast other markets, right? So Dubai government and our marketing people, we work very close, and again, we are very fast and very nimble in finding and looking for other sources of revenue markets.
So I want to come back to that point a little bit. So like 2010 to 2019, it seemed like the industry could do no wrong. It was just growth, growth. I know although you're new to Dubai Holding Entertainment, you've been in the sector for many years, and it just seemed like everything was headed in one direction. Yeah. And then suddenly in March of 2020, everything stopped. And it came back gradually. And just when it seemed that things were behind us with the pandemic and we were moving on to new things, we had a whole new set of geopolitical uncertainty with what's happening in Russia. We've also got entirely new dynamics around just the change in the cost of money and lending with what's happening with inflation and what we're seeing with the Fed in the US. I mean, so how does strategy change in this environment? Like, how are you thinking about the business and planning and investing, like today versus as we're emerging from this, and we're still in a crazy environment, to 2018, 2019?
Well, the first thing that we all in the group, that we consider is the customer satisfaction, right? So we always try to offer something to customers that that they're willing to come and test it. I mean, to try the attraction, to try the experience. So one thing that we have found that we all in our marketing research departments, etc., we find is that people are willing to experience and willing to pay for kind of a VIP, bespoke, or customized experiences, right? Things that you cannot do everywhere in the world. And I think Dubai is a very, very well positioned market for that. I mean, people coming from Dubai is not the typical people. I mean, I'm from Spain. I'm originally from Spain. And Spain has about 100 million tourists coming every year to the country. It's twice as much as the population. But people coming to Spain, they don't come with the spirit of doing something different or something VIP or something that is a bespoke or customized experience. Whereas people coming to Dubai, they expect that, right? So they expect a high-end product, a much better service, something special. And this is what we are offering in all our markets, in all our products. I mean, so we have, as I said, we are enhancing food and beverage all over our assets, because a theme park or entertainment experience is not only the attractions that we have. I don't know if you know, one thing that I learned very fast in this industry is that about 50% or 60% of people coming to a theme park, they don't like attractions. They come to the theme park for other things.
I have to confess, I go because I got to take my kids to Disney or wherever. My wife makes me do it, but it's not okay. I'm with
Disney or Motion Gate. Motion Gate.
No, I'm afraid it's Disney.
No, but it is true. I mean, so people go to a theme park or to any entertainment venue not only for the attraction itself, which is very important, because I mean that's the main reason you go. But then there is shows, entertainment, food, ambience. I mean, a lot of things. I mean, that you can enjoy in a theme park or an entertainment venue, and this is what we are trying to enhance in our portfolio of parks, right? That we are talking a lot about theme parks, but in our portfolio we have many other things. As I was at the beginning describing the portfolio, we have Coca-Cola Arena, for instance, that in the last few months we have done more than 60 events, concerts, and events there, which is a fantastic asset, venue, and number of shows that we have been able to perform there. We have Green Planet that I talked a little bit briefly at the beginning, which is an indoor AC animal encounter educational focus for children and families, which is the only one in the region that is working. And
so you talked about, so as customers are coming back, they want more of a private, more of a bespoke experience. Yes. And sounds like they're willing to spend more. We've been cooped up for 2 years, so we have more money, and those who are coming back they're prepared to spend more.
I think that the pandemic has taught us something very important, is that in this life, we take things for granted, right? I mean, you take for granted that every year you can go on vacation. You take for granted that when you have free time that you can travel. And this shows us that might be the case most times, but if something happens, we have limitations. So people, what they see now after the COVID pandemic, and still now we are affected by COVID, the moment you have the opportunity, you take advantage of that opportunity. So you travel, you spend money, you spend time. And this is what we have seen and what I have seen in the industry, that people, the moment they have the opportunity, they do it.
So how is the product, can you give an example, like how is the product or the experience different today as a result? Are there things that you're doing to serve the customer today that you didn't do? And again, I realize you're new, but are new initiatives that you're bringing in to adapt to the consumer in 2022 versus pre-pandemic?
So one of the things, I mean, obviously the most important thing for us is safety around the attraction. So we offer some safety levels around health, right? That we didn't offer before, just to be honest. I mean, no one in the world was prepared for this, right? So we keep those standards very, very high level. Second thing, as I said, is that we try to offer a combination of attractions with shows, entertainment, and food experience. And in the case of Global Village, is shopping opportunities as well. We have, and we are designing, and we have recently launched VIP premium season pass that we bundle all our attractions, and people have unlimited visit to all of our attractions. And in some of them, we offer kind of a VIP treatment service, like front of in the line, for roller coasters. You don't need to wait for food, for instance. You have a taxi service that take you to the parks, etc., etc. VIP parking, things like that.
One of the things we've seen accelerate over the past couple of years, and I showed a slide earlier, where there's just been a sea change in how travelers are booking. So we're seeing just a massive shift from offline to online, specifically within attractions, but in this sector in general. So part of it in attractions in 2020 and 2021, well, they had capacity constraints. We had to do contact tracing, and in many cases, attractions were required to implement mandatory online booking in advance. And as a result, we saw this really accelerate over the past couple of years. Is that going to stay? Like, is that shift permanent, or is it going to kind of go back? And are we going to go back to more traditional channels and offline? Like,
I think that these changes, they never go back to the origins, right? So I think that the online booking system, online shopping, etc., this is here, and they will never go back to what it was, a few years ago. I used to tell, when I have these kind of conversations, I used to tell people that when I was a child, 6 months before the summer, I knew where and when I was going to go on vacations with my parents, right? Now people, they wait until the very last moment. They book maybe a week in advance for vacations or trips, things like that, because first, they know, they have information that 10 years ago or 5 years ago we didn't have, right? So you go and Google today, and you can find information of going anywhere in the world. So and you see the prices, the offer, the everything. You have all kind of information there. So the use of that information, the technology, and the way young people, you were talking about that 2/3 of the travelers are under 31, right?
Yeah.
So this generation, they are used to work and live that way, right? So they will never come back to traditional booking systems or booking long in advance or anything like that. So we need to live with this.
Yeah. One area that I didn't touch on earlier, but it's become a hot topic within attractions, is the idea of dynamic pricing, and actually within tours in general. But some research we had done, I think it was about a year and a half ago, basically showed that more than 9 in 10 attractions, 95% or 96%, they change their prices maybe once a year or seasonally. Yeah. So is that, but an attraction isn't an airline. Is dynamic pricing, is it coming to the industry?
Dynamic pricing is, we have a main difference between our attractions and a hotel or an airline business, is that most times we don't have a capacity constraint. So in a theme park, for instance, we can have 5,000 people or 7,000 people or 10,000 people, right? So that makes, the only difference is the waiting, the time that you have to wait for certain attractions. But you don't have the capacity constraint that you have in an airplane, for instance. But I have to tell you, 10 years ago, I started with dynamic pricing in theme parks and water parks and some other entertainment venue. And I'm a firm believer that dynamic pricing is the way forward. And to me, it doesn't make sense that people pay the same if you want to come to a theme park on a Saturday or a Sunday, or if you want to come to the park on Tuesday or Wednesday, right? So the price should be different because demand is different, right?
So how can you give an example though? I think that's fairly common, right? Where the high demand, a Saturday afternoon ticket, in the high season is going to be different from, a Tuesday morning, in low season. But where is there are there other inputs around dynamic pricing, around demand, or things that the industry can begin to look at and do?
I will give you an example. Food and beverage, for instance, right? Theme parks, food and beverage, I don't know why, doesn't matter where you are in the world, everybody wants to have lunch at the same time. So the problem in theme parks for food and beverage is the throughput, is that you cannot produce more than 1,000 hamburgers or 1,000 pizzas in 30 minutes, right? That if you are in Spain, for instance, we have lunch at 2:30 in the afternoon. If you are in the US, it's at 12. So, but everybody wants to have within 12 and 12:30. So if dynamic pricing, I installed the dynamic pricing in some of the theme parks, telling if you come to the food and beverage stand, instead of coming at 12, you come at 11:30, you will have a cheaper price or an extra, free dessert or whatever. And those initiatives worked very, very well.
Got it. So we also can take questions from the audience. So if anyone has a question for Fernando, we have a mic stand right there, and you can go and you can ask a question. So how is there an opportunity across the attractions to do something around the guest experience from a technology standpoint? Like maybe an obvious comparison would be something like, a hotel loyalty program, I guess, or maybe an airline loyalty program. But from a technology standpoint, like, do you, as a result of knowing that you've got kind of one guest in Legoland, for example, that you can market to them for one of the other attractions and know what you're doing is?
To me, technology will help us in the entertainment industry in many different ways. One of the most important ones is to get to know our customers. You are surprised when many times when we design a theme park or a water park, we think about huge attractions, food and beverage, whatever. But when you talk to people and when you know your customer, you realize that many times they do not expect to have the tallest or the biggest or whatever attraction.
Yeah.
They want basic things. I will give you another example. In New York, we are expanding a water park, and we will, through internet, through marketing, research, etc., we are deciding what to add to the park. And obviously, we talk to our customers, and you know what they asked for? They didn't want to have more attractions. They wanted to have a better changing rooms and more restrooms in the park. So we invested on that, and the increase of customer satisfaction was a skyrocket. I mean, it was amazing. No attraction, no food. I mean, it was just a very basic things. Mm-hmm. Other thing is what kind of experience? I mean, what degree of attraction do you want to add to the park? Is a very aggressive? Is a family oriented? Is for children? Is for families, etc. So this is something that you need to talk and you need to try to find to get to know your customer very well. And technology today allow us to do that. I mean, before was very difficult because you have to do it manually, right? Talking to people. But today is, through Google Analytics and many other analytics. I mean, you can find a lot of information about this and design specific products, experiences for specific customers. And on the other side of technology, I think that augmented reality and virtual reality combined with a physical experience will be an amazing opportunity.
Are you implementing that already in some of your parks?
Yeah, well, we are, and again in the past in other companies, we were one of the first companies in the world adding virtual reality to roller coasters, right? So you have the physical, experience of movement, forces, acceleration, etc. But together with the goggles that you can go in a virtual world. I mean, and the experience was really good.
Okay.
So
I have to say, after the last couple of years, I'm kind of more interested in the physical world as opposed to the virtual world, but that's interesting. But I haven't convinced you to build the tallest freestanding dinosaur statue, have I?
We need to talk about that.
Okay, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, Fernando Eiroa. Thank you,
Thank you so
Fernando.
much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.